Hello and welcome to our GOLD participants from around the world. I'm Fiona Lang-Sharp, IBCLC Public Relations Manager and MC for the GOLD Lactation Online Conference 2016. And I am delighted to tell you that I am sitting down with Cynthia Good Mojab today. Hi, Cynthia, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, Cynthia. And, for our listening participants today, I just want to let everyone know that Cynthia and I now have known each other for a couple of years, right, Cynthia? We get to meet up at Gold events quite frequently, and it's always a lot of fun working with you. So thank you for being here with us here today.
I'm delighted. Thank you for having me.
So Cynthia and we're just going to chat just for a minute. I want to introduce those of you who don't know Cynthia. I want her to introduce herself, and she's going to be talking about perinatal mental health screening, a primer for lactation consultants. So Cynthia, why don't you start us off by just introducing yourself to those who don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then why don't you tell us why it's important for lactation consultants to do screening?
Sure. Well, I wear several hats in the perinatal fields, as many of the attendees of Gold also do. I am an international board certified lactation consultant. I'm also a mental health care provider who focuses on the perinatal time period. So I'm working, a lot of my clients are breastfeeding families who are struggling with perinatal mental health challenges. And I also do a bit of speaking. I write. I've got some content related to mental health on my website. And I also serve as education manager for the International Lactation Consultant Association. So the two hats that I mentioned first, being an IBCLC and a perinatal mental health care provider, are what have me interested in sharing the importance of screening for perinatal mental health challenges in this webinar. Um, Basically, why it's important is because lactation specialists have um, early contact with new families. They're ideally positioned to find out how those families are doing. And we know now that we can't really tell just by looking at a person whether they're experiencing depression or trauma or anxiety. For a lot of reasons, it can be invisible. And so we have families that fall through the cracks. And screening is a very effective way of identifying families that are at risk for these mental health challenges and figuring out who would benefit from a referral for further evaluation.
Well, that's awesome. I'm just so appreciative that this has grown the way it has right now. I mean, it feels like we've come leaps and bounds in talking about this, learning about it, and now here you are going to be teaching us again about the value, how to screen, what to screen, all those types of things. So I really appreciate that a lot, and because I know being in private practice, sometimes there have been frustrations for me because it's been missed, and then I have felt like I don't have the right tools at times. So this is going to be great, I think, for so many of us, and as it's a very, very much a growing field as well. So Cynthia, I don't know if you know, but this is our 10th anniversary here at Gold Lactation this year, and we're going to be celebrating with many things, including an extension of our conference so that more people can listen longer and they can do the pause, and especially for those who are wearing, like you said, multiple hats, and they can be very busy. So I'm excited, lots of prizes and things like that. However, on a serious note, some of the things that we've been talking about how we've grown as an organization, as a company, and all the things that we find that we've done better or, we've improved. But I want to know some of the things that you've experienced in the last 10 years. And this can be in your personal growth at work or what you've done or what you've discovered. But tell me a little bit about yourself and what you've seen in the changes over the past 10 years.
Oh gosh, for myself, um, well, about almost 9 years ago, I adopted a little girl,
Oh,
and much of my work was put on pause because of her needs. And so, bit by bit, as she's gotten older, I've been able to return to some of the things that I had done before she joined our family. So it's been a wonderful thing to be able to rebuild my private practice and return to speaking,
uh-huh.
get more writing done. Probably my biggest area of growth professionally would be um, increasingly integrating social justice into everything that I do. So um, I've always been interested in culture, but the degree to which I have addressed um, social justice as part of my interest in culture has dramatically increased. So I've got presentations that are now looking at inequitable institutional outcomes or inequitable health outcomes. Researching the data more in detail to see how does social oppression affect, breastfeeding or mental health. So I've just done a big increase in that aspect of my work.
Well, and I have been appreciative of being on the other end of this, of, learning from you. So thank you for, having such a strong interest in it because you have become one of our teachers here, and we certainly appreciate here at Gold. So thank you so much for sharing that. And what a wonderful story to hear about your daughter. It was 9 years ago that you got to adopt her. So that's
Almost,
also,
yeah.
yeah, it's very special indeed. Well, as we wrap up here, I want to jump back into this presentation on screening, and could you just share just a little bit about what our delegates should expect from this presentation?
Sure. So in a lot of my presentations, I go very deeply into the literature, related to whatever the topic is. In this one, I don't do that as much. It's really just kind of a quick glance at some um, patterns that we can discern from the literature, but not much time really delving into it. What I really get into is why we should screen, the ethical rationale for it, and then the nuts and bolts of how do you develop a screening protocol for your practice and use some tools that are free for anyone to access and that have good research behind them, and that between the two of them are good ways of tapping into if a client seems to be at risk for um, depression, anxiety, traumatic stress, would they warrant a referral to someone who's able to really do a full evaluation? So it's
Mhm.
very, yes, there's information, particularly about the ethics, but it's really kind of trying to get as hands-on as you can get in a webinar of, how would
Sure.
you use these tools, and using a case study of a real person that I've worked with, and what the screening tools were like for her, and just trying to bring it, to life as much as you can in a webinar.
Well, that's going to be awesome, and I can't wait actually to hear more of these tools. Sometimes I feel inadequate, in this area as well, and I know there's always more to learn. And I've learned that from you, Cynthia, because you always sharing so much more, and it just feels like this topic could be endless, and it probably is, because it's about the human psychology, which we're always discovering new things. So this is going to be an invaluable presentation, I think, for so many. So thank you so much again for preparing it and putting it together, and I invite all of you listening now to make sure that you get online, come and register for our Gold Lactation Online Conference. It's our 10th anniversary, and we have so much to share with you, including Cynthia Good Mojab's presentation. So thank you, Cynthia, for being with us here today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It's always lovely to have you. And to our listening audience, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to sharing some more with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.